Today we will see the another concept related with enzymes, that is the 1.4 mechanism of enzyme action. In mechanism of enzyme action, we will see the lock and key hypothesis and induced effect hypothesis. In 1.5, we will see the factors affecting the enzyme activity, that is the temperature and pH, and 1.6, that is the enzyme inhibition. First of all, we will see the mechanism of enzyme action. In the mechanism of enzyme action, there are two theories to explain the mode of action. The first, that is the lock and key theory, and second one, that is the induced effect theory. First of all, we will see the lock and key theory. While you observe the diagram, in the diagram, this theory was originally proposed by Fischer in 1890. According to this theory, a particular lock can be opened by a particular key only. Similarly, the enzymes have a specific active sites where a particular substrate can only bind. While you observe the diagram, in the diagram there is an enzyme and there is a one active site as well as the substrate where a particular substrate can only bind. Thus, the enzyme acts as an lock and substrate acts as an key. However, this theory reports absolute specificity of enzymes and does not explain the conversion of enzyme substrate complex into product and enzyme. While you observe the picture, in that picture there is an enzyme which is having active site, there is a substrate, and there is a formation of enzyme substrate complex. The metabolism or reaction is catalyzed and there is a formation of enzyme substrate complex, and finally there is a formation of enzyme plus product. That means in that theory, the absolute specificity of enzyme does not explain, that is the conversion of enzyme substrate complex into product and enzymes. After completion of first theory, the second theory, that is the induced effect theory. This theory was proposed by Koshland in 1966. According to this theory, the geometry of enzyme protein is changed when the substrate bind with active site of enzymes. While you observe the picture, in that picture there is an enzyme having active site and there is a substrate. For a perfect action, the orientation of the catalytic group must be a proper. These findings are made very clear by this theory. According to Koshland, when a particular substrate binds with the active site of enzyme, it causes change in geometry of enzyme protein. The enzyme substrate complex is formed due to the establishment of such a enzyme substrate binding force. That means there is a force which is created in between that two ones, that means the enzyme and substrate. Thus, the reaction is completed by the force or a strain created amongst the enzyme and substrate. On the other hand, if inhibitor molecules with the active site of enzyme, it cannot create a sufficient force amongst the enzyme and inhibitor molecules. Hence, it is unable to go for forward reaction and block the normal enzyme activity. After completion of mechanism of enzyme action, the 1.5, that is the factors affecting enzyme activity. Under that one, there are two factors. First, that is the pH, and second one, that is the temperature. Well, we switch over to the factors affecting enzyme activity. The enzymes, these are the special types of the proteins and acting as a biocatalyst. Being a proteinaceous in nature, their active sites, these are affected by different factors. The most important factors are the pH and temperature. The pH is the negative logarithm of hydrogen ion concentration. It is called as pH. Such enzymes are very sensitive to the pH of the medium in which they act. The pH is remarkably affects the enzyme activities. The most of the enzymes, they are active at optimum pH range is of 4 to 9. So if you plot the graph of enzyme activity against the pH, it shows a bell-shaped curve indicating that the rate of reaction increases up to optimum pH value and against decreases slowly, finally stop the reaction. However, some enzymes need a very high acidic or alkaline pH for their optimum activity. For example, the pepsin needs a pH 2, that means highly acidic, while the trypsin needs pH 8, that is the highly alkaline, and arginase needs a pH 10, that is the highly alkaline. The another factor, that is the temperature. It is the one of the important factor which controls the rate of enzyme reactions. Due to their proteinaceous in nature, they are very sensitive in a liquid state and hence they are thermolabile. On the other hand, in a solid state, the enzyme in seeds as well as the spores are very resistant to a temperature. Even the enzymes of thermophilic bacteria and the fungi are also active at a high temperature. The enzyme action, which is greatly affected by a temperature. If the temperature is increased by 10 degrees centigrade, the rate of most of chemical reaction is doubled up to 14 degrees centigrade. That is, at optimum temperature, enzymes are active, but when a temperature above 40 degrees centigrade to 60 degrees centigrade, there is a loss of enzyme activity because of denaturation of protein occurs at this temperature. While you observe the graph, in that graph, you see the temperature against the reaction rate. That means the temperature increases up to a 40 degree. That means the optimum temperature, the reaction rate which is increased one, that means it shows the maximum activity. But while the temperature rises above 40 degrees centigrade up to 50 degrees centigrade or 60 degrees centigrade, there is a denaturation of enzymes occur. That means there is a loss of enzymatic activity. 1.6, that is the enzyme inhibition. An enzyme inhibitor is a molecule that disrupts the normal reaction pathway between the enzymes and a substrate. Certain compounds combines with an enzyme but do not serve as a substrate. They thus block the catalysis by the enzyme and functions as an inhibitor. The inhibitors usually closely resembles the substrate in structure. The enzyme and the inhibitor form a enzyme inhibitor complex which is inactive. The inhibition may be a competitive or non-competitive. First of all, we will see the competitive inhibition. In a competitive inhibition involves the molecule other than the substrate binding to a enzyme's active site. The molecule is structurally and chemically similar to the substrate, hence able to bind to active sites. While you observe the picture, there is an enzyme, there are two sites plus substrate plus inhibitor. There is a formation of enzyme inhibitor complex. That means instead of substrate binds with that active site, the inhibitor, which is a bind one, because the site is the same one or similar one, and there is a no reaction occurs. That means directly blocks the active sites. The competitive inhibitors, they blocks the active site and thus prevents the substrate binding. As the inhibitor is a competition with the substrate, its effects can be reduced by increasing the substrate concentration. A non-competitive inhibition. In a non-competitive inhibition involves the molecule binding to a site other than the active sites, that means the allosteric site. The binding of inhibitors to the allosteric site causes a conformational changes to an enzyme's active site. As a result of this change, the active site and substrate no longer share specificity, meaning the substrate cannot bind. As the inhibitor is not in direct competition with the substrate, increasing the substrate level cannot mitigate the inhibitor's effect. While you observe the picture, in that picture you see the enzyme which is having two sites plus substrate plus inhibitor, but in this non-competitive inhibition, that inhibitor is a bind with that allosteric site, but due to binding the active site, their morph That means the inhibitor binds to a allosteric site, change the shape of active site, and thus the no reaction occurs. That means there is no formation of enzyme substrate complex.